that we're big enough to say that you know, that this life is what it is. I'm working towards the next life. But I don't know that I can do that. The 9 people that was in South Carolina that was shot by someone who decided that they didn't need to live anymore. And one of them was the pastor of the Emmanuel Methodist Episcopal Church. African Methodist Episcopal Church. It's our sister church in the black congregation. 9 members, including the pastor, shot to death. And when they interviewed him the next day, the first thing they did after it was over with, the church got together across the street and prayed for the guy and his family. Encouragers in the faith. People that encourage you along the way. People that build your faith. And I know that if I was to ask you if we could take a poll, that every one of you here have exemplars in your life of people that have brought you along, that have made your path easier simply because they were there. They have cheered you to the finish line. One of the things that I did, I got to clean my office out because there are a couple of carpet down in there in a week from Monday or Tuesday, and so I've got to get all my books and stuff out of the way. The conference district office sent us stuff back because they went digital on us, and so they took photographs of all this, and they're stored in the cloud and all that kind of stuff. And so they sent back to me articles that we sent down to them years ago. And so I'm looking through these, and this is why sermons take so long to write, is because you start looking at this stuff, and then you start reading it, and then you start asking questions about who these people are. Who are they? This was in September 13th, 1998. They wrote, it was in the paper, the Desert Echo. Methodists are a covenant people, a diverse community. I don't think any truer words can be said about us. We're pretty diverse. Biblical in faith, mission-oriented, socially conscious, connectional, ecumenical, evangelical, and involved. That's what we are. And it shows a picture of, I think this handsome young man here is Larry Jensen holding a shovel. You might want to look at this because you probably won't see this again. Not true, not true. And Carol Howard, and the pastor, and lots of folks that are here and doing things. But these are the people that had a vision for the church, for your faith community. And here's another one out of the Desert Echo. Turning clocks ahead this weekend. And this is where they were going to have sunrise service here while the church was under construction. Then we were going to go to the regular service at Easter time. This is April 1999, and it's a picture of the church. And I would like to, would have liked to have got these up there too. What I'm saying is that we've got people, the great cloud of witnesses. We look to the past, yes. We look to the exemplars that's in the Bible, yes. We look to the people in history, to Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King. We look to some of the other people that had this, that were prophetic voices about the community, that strengthen our faith just by their faith. All I need to do is read about you, and it makes me know that whatever trials I'm going through, you survive more than that. I can do this. I can do this. I've got this. We got thinking about the people that were here. And as we build this next piece that's out there, and it's a memorial garden, I'm looking at the names of people that are putting stuff for there. And I think of names that's come up. And we'll go back to the list of people that have passed through here, that are no longer with us physically, but is part of the witnesses that are here, that's whose spirit is breathed into this place. Bruce, Ron. And I started to put their pictures up, Because I made a list of a whole bunch of names, Mark and John and Joan and Mary and people, one funerals that I've done. And look at what the visions that they had. I talked to Marjorie this morning about Rich. And Rich is, that he's been a faithful minister here for a long time. But I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that Rich was probably the most instrumental person in making sure that we had music coming out of the bell tower. They bought the first Carillon thing that we still use back there to put music out into the neighborhood. People that I look up and down these rows and I see the faithfulness of you and your spouse that may not be here anymore. And I look and I know how, as sad as that is, the encouragement that comes through there is undeniable. It's undeniable. Paul says we've got to run this race, and the only way that we can run this race is if we have the endurance to go bolstered by the people who've been there before, by the people that have been down this path. And so all these people have a vision for this church, what it needs to be, how we're going to build this kingdom right here in this part of the world. Now, the question is, how are you going to pick that up and make sure that the people who will follow you will do the same thing? Who's going to be encouraged by your witness? We need to find, and we need to have those children here that we're speaking to. They're out there. We just need to get them. So I asked, at the end of this, what are you running for? What are you running for? And a better question would have been, now that I thought about it, is who are you running for? Who is causing you to put your tennis shoes on? Make you sign up for something that's really, really goofy, that's difficult, that you don't want to do. Why do you do what you do? Who's speaking to you? And I know that there's one that I didn't even want to give names, and I didn't even want to put pictures up today because I'm going to miss somebody. But there are some people that have been through this church that have made, that you're grateful to. And I can sense that by just looking at your faces, that you know, and you know who they are. When we get to our prayer time today, that we need to give thanks to these people. Give thanks to them. There's just not much else, that we can glean out of this race and endurance and this passage of Hebrews. But this is the faith, the Hebrews 11 is the faith chapter. By faith. By faith. And somebody one of these days is going to say that about you, that I knew him. And by faith, this is what he accomplished. And by faith, this is what they taught me. And you'll be grateful for it. I just love the idea of the race. I love the idea of first of all, gathering the 33,000 other weirdos, for lack of a better word, and doing the same thing. There's something about this body when you do it. We can exercise our faith alone, but there's something magical that happens. Something very magical that happens when we come into this place. Our voices get louder. Our countenance picks up. Our cares don't go away, but they're diminished. They're diminished. And all of a sudden we start to see how God planned for us to come together in this way just for that purpose. Guide my feet, hold my hand while I run this race. It's a good song. Thanks be to God.